Hello, everyone. How are you all doing today? Welcome to today's episode 7, What the Fitness. Today, we are going to talk about protein, right? The importance, the benefits, the myth, and how much you should consume. And I'll probably talk a little bit about the timing as well, all right? So, again, if you have any questions regarding protein, just drop it in the comments and we will get to you, okay? So I'm gonna move on to just briefly explaining what proteins are. Okay, so basically, protein is essential. Okay, for every single person every single day. Protein becomes more important. The more it becomes more important when we are more active. While most people know that it's important, we don't understand why it's important often. Okay, proteins are made up of amino acids, and these proteins and amino acids are the main building blocks of our muscles, bones, skin, tissues, organs. So when we consume protein, our body breaks it down into individual amino acids during digestion and then uses it as as these amino acids to create new proteins throughout the body. It is essential to consume. It is essential for us to consume an adequate amount of protein. Otherwise, the body will have to break down muscles to obtain the amino acid that it needs to function. So, which means we'll start losing muscles. Okay. So, if you're training weights, or doing anything physically demanding, you need the protein to help maintain those muscles or make it grow. And if you don't take enough of it, your muscle starts to shrink. And that's the last thing you want. Okay. So, then I'm going to move on to the benefits. Okay, I'm going to talk about 3 simple benefits to how protein can help you. So the first benefit is that protein, it helps you to feel full longer. Why? Because it's satiating. Okay, so one of the main issues for people trying to lose weight, and for athletes who are burning a significant amount of calories, is that they are constantly hungry. Okay, so this is where consuming protein can be especially beneficial because it helps you to feel full longer for a long period of time as compared to carbohydrates or fat. So for anyone who is trying to minimize unhealthy snacking, look for snacks that are high in protein. All right, for example, say maybe um, protein bars, all right, whey protein, eggs, those stuff have really high in protein. Okay, then we move on to benefit number 2, protein. It boosts our metabolism. So, in addition to helping to promote satiety, protein can also help us to increase our metabolism, which can aid in burning calories more efficiently, which is important for anyone trying to change their body composition. So when we consume protein throughout the day, it also helps you to maintain your muscle mass if you're looking to maintain a certain look. Okay, so having an adequate muscle mass is also essential in maintaining our metabolism. Okay, now we move on to benefit number 3. Okay, so not only does eating protein help to prevent muscle breakdown, aka muscle loss, but it can also help to build muscles. Okay, so combining regular physical activity, exercise with protein intake, it helps to promote muscle growth. So when we talk about protein, we want to make sure it's high quality protein. Why? Because it contains all the essential amino acids that are rich in BCAAs, branch chain amino acids. For example, leucine. Leucine is one of these BCAA that plays a major role in promoting muscle growth and recovery after resistance and endurance exercises. Okay, so these high quality proteins exist in animal based protein food, such as chicken, beef, fish, some dairy products, eggs, and, well, egg related products, and definitely eggs. Okay, If you do not have time, let's say, or after you train, after your gym training session, protein shakes, right? Protein shakes are extremely convenient, but do not mistake them as meal replacement. That's the last thing you want to do, okay? So why is protein shake extremely convenient? You can make them, it's basically very useful for individuals and athletes who are, or basically entrepreneurs, who are always constantly on the go. So choosing a protein powder supplement, it's very effective in promoting muscle growth and recovery. But if you have any other benefit ideas, you can add into the chat and we can share to everyone. So now that we've talked about the importance of protein, we've talked about the 3 benefits, and now we move on to the myth. Okay, let's talk about 3 myths. I'm going to share 3 myths with all of you today. So I'm pretty sure most of us would know that protein builds muscle. Okay, but what if I tell you it doesn't only build muscle? Okay, protein. Myth number 1: protein only builds muscle. Well, as an essential nutrient composed of building blocks known as amino acid, protein is not only a component of muscle, but also of bones, joints, tendons, ligaments, hair, antibodies, hormones, enzymes, and, well, basically a lot of things. So protein also supports a healthy immune system, okay? And it plays a role in our body composition. And as soon as you learn, it can also regulate your blood sugar, okay? So it's not just to build muscles. And myth number 2, this is pretty common. Eating too much protein causes kidney disease, okay? So there are numerous studies have shown that consuming excess protein only harms the kidneys if you have underlying kidney or liver disease. That's because healthy kidneys are very good at removing the extra nitrogen that comes with eating lots of protein, okay? How much should you take? Well, we're going to talk about that in a bit, okay? Now, myth number 3: eating less protein is a good way to lose weight, or eating less meat is one way for me to lose weight. Well, for this, I must say this out loudly. It is false, because the opposite is true. Okay, not eating enough protein can make it harder to lose weight, since it helps to keep you full and your metabolism boosted. Okay, it also has the highest thermic effect of all macronutrients. What are they? Carbs, fats, and proteins. Right? Typically, 10% of calories you eat from protein gets to use to metabolize it. Pretty cool, right? But that's not all. Often people who do lose weight by cutting protein are losing muscles. Your precious, precious muscles that you put up time, your precious time to build them, okay? You're losing them. You're not losing fat, okay? A small percentage of it, okay? But you're mainly losing muscles. Why? Because muscle breaks down, okay? That's because when lowering calories, the body uses stored fat for energy, which is what we want, okay? But if calories are too low, it will also break down muscles into amino acid to make energy. What's important to know is that since muscle is active, fat is not, for every pound or every gram of muscle you burn 50 calories per day. So put it another way. If you lose, say, roughly, 5 kg from muscle, right? You will burn, no, I wouldn't say 5 kg, say probably 3 kilos of muscle, right? You probably burn, on average, 500 less calories per day, which is enough to gain back, 2 kg of fat per week, right? This means maintaining your new weight will be very difficult, if not impossible to do, okay? So again, if you guys have any question, just type in the comments and then we'll get to it. Now, this is where we'll talk about how much to consume, okay? How to include protein in your meal plan. So there are two things to consider when setting a program. All right. But before I get into two things, when you prepare your meal plan, all right, always prioritize protein first. Okay. Now, the two factors to consider when setting a protein is that the first consideration is your age. Okay, your body becomes less sensitive to the anabolic effect of amino acid. Okay, and it requires more protein to get the same anabolic effects compared to when you were younger. You know, you being 40 years old compared to when you were 18 is completely different. That is not to say that you can't build any muscles after a certain age, but it just means that to maximize protein synthesis, you will need to proportion more protein. So adding 1% more protein every year after 40 years old is recommended. Okay. Now, this second consideration relates to protein as calories increase. The higher overall calories, the less protein required. A surplus of calories discourage muscle protein breakdown. So net muscle anabolism will increase. Okay. As there is an increase in the surplus from conservative to moderate to aggressive. The protein can be reduced if desired. In fact, some people who struggle to eat enough food, it is recommended that they lower their protein intake slightly when they're in a mass building phase. Okay. Now, if you were to ask, what would I recommend? Okay. I would say I typically recommend targeting between 2.2 to 3 grams of protein per kilogram of lean muscle mass. Okay. Where you fall on this spectrum depends on the two factors that I've mentioned earlier. Okay. The first consideration is your age. The second consideration relates to protein, as your calories increase. Okay. That's because there's research showing that in terms of muscle protein anabolism, you can't make up for low protein at one time of the day by overeating at another time of the day due to the anabolic cap from a meal. So once you've passed a certain level of a protein at a meal, probably say around 40 to 50 grams, depending on your body weight and the source of the protein itself. You don't get additional muscle building benefits from additional protein. Okay. And when to consume? What time? When is the best time? When it comes to protein timings, there are data suggesting that in order to get a better outcome, if you spread most of your protein over 3 to 5 high quality protein meals a day. That's what I do, but it all comes down to what you can fit into your meal plan. You can stick to just 3. I would suggest maybe 4. Okay. But you have to remember this. Okay. If you have consumed all your protein in only 1 or 2 sittings, guess what? You miss out on multiple opportunities to spike muscle protein synthesis throughout the day. Hence why I prefer you to spread things out a little, right? But definitely the main thing to do is that after you train, there's this term known as the anabolic window. Maybe, I would say not maybe, after you train, probably within 30 minutes or an hour or so, that's where you want to consume your protein, all right? But don't just have protein itself. Maybe you want to add in some complex carbohydrate with it as well, okay? So these are just a few things that I am going to share when it comes to the importance of it, the benefits, all right, the myths, and how much you should eat. But again, if you have any question, just shoot us in the comment section and I will get back to you. So hopefully that helps to answer some of your questions regarding protein itself. Okay? So I hope all of you have a great weekend ahead, and we will see you all next week on episode 8. What is it about? Stay tuned. We'll see you then. Take care, everyone.